Hi, I'm going to do a presentation today on a new project we're launching called OurBike, which is a e-cargo bike share scheme. Let me just share screens. OurBike, say goodbye to the car. A bit of background on Peddle My Wheels for those of you that don't know us. We've been running second-hand bike markets throughout London since 2014. We run a scheme in a number of boroughs called Try Before You Bike, and other projects include cargo bike pilots with businesses, social prescribing arm of Try Before You Bike we launched last year. And the current one, which I've been working on for a couple of years now, and it got put on hold during COVID because we were so busy with our other stuff, is the cargo bike share scheme. So, which we're calling OurBike. What is OurBike? A community cargo bike. Residents and businesses can hire the cargo bike by the hour using their smartphone to reserve it and lock and unlock it. It will be available for businesses and residents, and it overcomes the twin barriers of cargo bike use of affordability and storage. So we're speaking to councils at the moment. We did actually have a bid that we won on a tender, but we declined it in the end. It was a bit too soon for us to launch last year, but various councils we're talking to now, and we've slightly fine-tuned the scheme since last year. So what the benefits for the council: inclusive, as I said, overcomes the twin barriers of cost and storage for cargo bikes. Plus, unless you're using it as a parent, ownership of cargo bikes is not always necessary. You use them for specific jobs, for example, taking your pet to the vet or going to a DIY shop or a garden centre. You don't necessarily need to own one. They're just specific jobs you need it for. Business engagement. So we've been asked a lot over the last year or so about engaging with local business about the use of cargo bikes for deliveries or for their own internal use, for jobs. And it is a challenge. Even pre-COVID, local businesses are not necessarily set up to use cargo bikes. They're not interested in using them. They don't do deliveries, etc., etc. There's a whole range of issues when engaging with businesses on use of cargo bikes. So this project offers a way of communicating with businesses where it gives them more than just a cargo bike. So I'll explain more as we get on, but they'll be the host of the scheme of the cargo bike. And in addition to having use of that bike, they will get a lot more. They will be promoted on the cargo bike, so they'll have their branding with the council and with us on the cargo bike box. But they'll also be, when the scheme is promoted in the area, they'll be the point of contact for where the bike's kept. So all eyes will be on them. They're part of a green community initiative. So it's a lot more attractive proposition to a business rather than the more standard approach, which has been use a cargo bike for free and trial it for free, and which we do. We offer that free trial before you buy. It's a tougher approach. Financially sustainable. So for the first 24 months, the scheme will need subsidising from the council, but we will look to move it to a pay per hour model. Positive community engagement. The cargo bike scheme can be used in conjunction with things like LTNs and school streets. Flexibility. We offer two models, either in-house, the council can bring it in-house and they can manage it once we've set up the app for them, or they can outsource it and let us manage the whole thing. Reporting, we do our standard reporting, which will be everyone who signs up, why they didn't use cargo bikes before, what mode of transport it's replacing, demographics, etc., etc. And then additional to that, each cargo bike will have a tracker instilled on it, and we can see where and what type of journeys people are using the bike for, which could be valuable information. So it works pretty much like a dockless scheme, stored with a local business, which will be called the OurBike host. And I'll get on to what that involves. The users will sign up via our website because we want to get more information from them. And once we've approved them, we will then meet the user to give them an onboarding session and a 2-hour cycle training session with one of our qualified cycle instructors at the location where the cargo bike's held. So you can't just download the app and start riding a cargo bike. We don't think that's a good idea. There'll be an hourly fee, and the council funding it can dictate what that fee will be. Our suggestion is it's free for the first 2 hours to encourage usage, and thereafter it's £5 an hour to discourage people monopolising the use of the bike. As I said, we aim to have it a self-financing model within 24 months of launch. So the hosts, so these will be a local business. What we need from them is they each evening they bring the bike into their shop, unit, whatever they have, where they can store it overnight, and they charge the battery. That's their job. In the morning, they wheel the bike out and lock it up with the smart lock, leave it somewhere near their shop because that's the location that people will see on the app. And they're not bothered again. People don't come into the shop to ask them questions about it. They can just use the cargo bike. So it won't disrupt their business day, but they are part of, it'll be very evident that they're part of this green community initiative for their area. If there's occasions when the bike, they're not available to bring the bike in overnight, let's say, for example, they don't open on a Monday, our insurance policy does cover the cargo bike to be left locked outside. So ideally, most nights they'd bring the bike in, but it's not a prerequisite to getting insurance. The host will benefit from 2 hours free use a day, plus we'll give them an onboarding and staff training session on use of the cargo bike. We would suggest also giving them maybe discounted use of the cargo bike in addition to their 2 hours or on top of their 2 hours. So maybe half price, so £2.50 an hour once they've used their 2 hours up. They'll get free branding on the cargo box, free advertising to local residents. So they'll be seen as a good PR opportunity for them. They're part of this green initiative, helping their community, reducing traffic, etc., etc. And any financial costs incurred, they will be covered for. So the cost of charging the battery, £20–30 a month. We deal with a range of suppliers for cargo bikes. So depending on what the council wants, probably our suggestion would be to make it more inclusive would be to start with a trike. We're not looking to sort of, if someone's going in for sort of heavy duty storage, delivery, sorry, they probably want a sort of flatbed cargo bike. We think a trike is more accessible to more people, basically. So either a trike in the sort of family model with benches there, but can also be used to carry goods, or a business trike, so with a box that you can lock. So if you were riding around doing deliveries and stopping off, you can lock it each time. Or if you were doing shopping and you wanted to go into various shops, you can build it up, lock it each time, and as you fill the box, and then pop into another shop, etc., etc. But this is a discussion to have with the council, what exactly they're looking for. Like I said, we have arrangements with a number of suppliers of cargo bikes. The app has been built. It's a bespoke app for us. Where it differs from sort of standard bike share apps is the reserve and book session. Most of the bike share, they don't work on the basis that someone's going to book the bike in the future. They want it there and then, which makes sense when you're talking about a dockless bike or a scooter. But with a cargo bike, it will often be a more planned booking rather than a sort of impulsive, oh, I want to use a cargo bike now. It will be, I need to do such and such a job on Saturday, so I'll reserve it for that period. And then everything else on the app will be pretty standard. You can lock and unlock the bike whilst in journey, end your ride, pay for journeys on it, report any issues, customer service email and number will be on there, plus your account of what you've actually done. The lock. So the software companies we work with, we've got two companies, and they one of them has created the app, and the other company works with hardware companies, so with lock companies. So we can work with a whole range of locks. At the moment, we're using it's called a DOM tap key padlock. It's a gold rated padlock. It's not a cheap padlock, but it's a good strength gold rated. And the reason we've gone for that, we were reluctant to just go down the route of having what we call a Dutch lock on the rear wheel, a circle lock, disc lock. We wouldn't have got insurance on that. They're not particularly secure. They're quite easy to smash off. Even ones we've looked at with alarms on and what have you. So in our mind, we wanted the security to be as good as if it was your own bike. So we didn't feel like we should sort of dumb down any of that aspect, any side of that aspect of it. So we're starting with that lock, but we've got a whole host of other locks we can work with, which includes locks on actual bike lockers and hangers, if a council wanted to use that model, which is something we'd already sort of worked on last year. It's an option to have cargo bike lockers. Insurance and maintenance included in the cost. So the reporting, as I said, you get the standard stuff that we do on all our schemes, really, of demographic, who's using it, why weren't they cycling before, what have they switched from public transport, cars, etc. And the additional information with this scheme will be the tracker information. So where are people going, when's it being used, which will be particularly useful with cargo bikes to see where they travel. So for future planning, infrastructure planning, it could be quite valuable information. The marketing, this is going to be a joint venture between us and the council funding it. And it's very much on the approach of our bike. We want it to be a community bike. It's for that particular community. We want them to sort of take ownership of it. And that means everything from looking after it to being sort of proud of it and how they use it. We want to try and encourage ideas of use. So for example, you hire the cargo bike to do your shopping, but maybe check on a local elderly neighbour to see if they need anything while you're out and about. If you've got a family cargo bike, if the council puts in a family cargo bike, maybe if it can fit 4 kids, then your own kids plus your neighbour's kids. Things like that, try and sort of bring together communities around this bike. Businesses, again, the idea is where it can be tough to get into businesses to use cargo bikes, particularly in certain areas, or if newer businesses might be more open to use of cargo bikes. But yeah, I know certain areas where we've tried, it's quite a challenge. We're thinking with this, if you get the cargo bike in there, even if they're not using it initially, they're part of the scheme. They'll see the benefits of it from seeing other people, from their own customers using it. They could even, they're 2-3 hours a day, they could maybe use that as an incentive to their customers they could pass that on to them. So if they spend over a certain amount, they can use the cargo bike for their own deliveries. It just gets that conversation started. Other businesses see that they've got a promotion on the box, that they're getting promoted to the local community for being the business that hosts the cargo bike. That could be something that appeals to business. It comes down to the bottom line. They're getting free, you know, a significant amount of free promotion and advertising, and whatever businesses might think of traffic measures and LCNs, when it comes to free stuff, they tend to be a bit more open to listening to it. So we think it's a good tool to get into local business. Other promotions, we'll work with our partners, Sustrans, cycle training providers, any other non-profit organisations in the area. And then the council will be the probably more prominent marketing department for this. So using their comms team, however they do, whether that's through free local press, e-newsletters, yeah, however far they want to go, JCD boards, etc., etc. So the two models for this cargo bike scheme: in-house, so we can white label the app in the council name. So it could be ex-council cargo bike share scheme or community cargo bike share scheme. There is a cost to that. If the council goes down the in-house path, they would have to purchase all the equipment. They manage all the customer service, so it would be their phone number and email on the app if anyone had any issues. They deal with the host as well. Insurance and maintenance would obviously be covered by them as well. And once they've paid for all that, the only ongoing costs would be a software licensing fee and app support fee, which we just they pay us, but we pass that on to our provider. The outsource model is Peddle My Wheels running the whole thing. So you use the OurBike app. When they go on to, when a user goes onto the OurBike app, they'll then click on their local council part of that app. So it will be branded still within the OurBike app with the council branding, but it is essentially, they download the OurBike app from the app stores. The council then pays us a monthly fee that covers everything. We manage the hosting, the customer service, insurance and maintenance, and we would look to, in time, switch that model to a self-financing model, so that the council isn't paying annually for this service. So the in-house model for the app, to white label the app and have it in the council branding, so it would actually be downloaded from the app store as the ex-council cargo bike share app, is a one-off fee of 5,200. To get one bike with all the various parts you need is 5,515. There's an additional, if you looked at a locker model rather than the business host model, so you could just put a locker in like a bike hanger somewhere. It can accommodate 2 cargo bikes. That is an option, and it has a smart lock on it. It's a slightly different model, so it would need different pricing, and obviously there's a cost for a locker. And the ongoing fee is £60 per bike. The only additional extra is if the council wanted to book cycle training. So we'd meet the user at the cargo hub, and we'd deliver a 2-hour cycle training session. The outsource model, which is using Peddle My Wheels, upfront costs of 650, which is branding basically, and induction day for the host, the business host. And thereafter, so the cargo bike with all the smart padlock and tracker and everything else is a cost of £200 per month. The running of the service, maintenance, customer service, software licensing, £200 per month. Insurance for each bike, £40 per month, and we've put an energy cost of £20 per month for the business. So it's £470 per month to have this service running with one bike in your area. The only additional extra to that is the cycle training, which is per person. If you agree to do it, is £48 for a 2-hour session. So these models, like I said, we're looking to take it to a self-financing model. We can't give exact figures because these are totally new schemes. There isn't a cargo bike share schemes with smart tech being run yet in this country. The only model we're familiar with is one in Switzerland, which works was launched in Switzerland, which works on a similar business host basis. But hopefully, as people become more aware of it and see other people using it, they would be willing to pay for that service. And so we'd look to move to a paid for model hopefully by year 3, it's fully self-financing. I mentioned the locker idea, and we have been working on this, and last year this was going to be the model. We just have cargo bike lockers, the bike goes in there, there's a smart lock on the locker, so the app, you open the app up, it unlocks the locker, and then you use the same app to unlock the bike. The reservation system and pricing and all the rest of it is based on the lock on the bike. It's the locker app is simply the app simply a key to unlock that app. We can work it another way where the reservation and what have you is all based on the lock on the locker, but it wouldn't really make sense because the bike's the one that's going to be out and about and stopped and started. But we're very flexible with this. We're aware, and this is why we sort of held off from launching it last year. Councils want all different applications for this and have different funding, and we just wanted it to be as flexible as possible. So this is another option. With the lockers, we work with Falco and a smaller company for the green roofed lockers if you just wanted a single cargo bike in there. So that's it. We're at a point of, we're talking to 6 or 7 councils at the moment about this, various funding sources. Our ideal is to start it small, like maybe 2 to 4 cargo bikes in a particular area, a high street maybe that you're looking to work in, maybe one there's issues around LTNs being put in. So this is a good way of engaging with business that might not otherwise be so keen to do so. If you need further details, these are my contact details. Happy to take any questions if you just email me and we can set up a meeting to discuss further.